9.
Welcome everyone back to another episode of Parkinson's Coast to Coast with your host, my brother here in advocacy, Glen. I'm Sharon's son, George, Dr. George Ackerman. From Hawaii to Florida, Parkinson's awareness is worldwide. That's what this show is about. Glen is the president currently of the Hawaiian Parkinson's Association. Please support them, but really the most incredible thing is our guest today, someone I always believe is family, and hopefully she agrees some days because she really is doing this out of her heart. And I think, I always say me and Glenn do this 24/7, but she's probably doing it even more than 24/7. It's such an honor to have you, Amy, to the show.
Yes, thank you so much, you guys. I'm so happy to talk to you. Both of you are such amazing advocates and are such great spokespeople, not only for the Parkinson's community, but also why we need to raise our voices and advocate our government leaders to support the needs of the Parkinson's community and work with us to really accomplish things. So I'm so excited to be here with you on the eve of some really exciting things. So happy to be here.
Thanks, Amy. I'm going to send it to Glenn to start off the show.
Thank you, Amy. First of all, before I begin with the questions, I have to say that George, we're not coast to coast today. We are on the same coast because I'm in Baltimore currently. So we're actually on the same East Coast, and I'll be in Washington D.C. with Amy and you a little later today. So looking forward to all of that. But welcome, Amy. Welcome to our show. Everyone's got a connection to Parkinson's. So how did you get started working with Michael J. Fox Foundation and working with people with Parkinson's? Amy.
Yeah, sorry about that. The travails of technology. Hopefully I at least was frozen on an attractive face. I highly doubt it was. But so I came to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. I saw a job opening and talked to the amazing policy team of how they were looking at really expanding and growing the support for their grassroots and grasstops advocacy at every level of government, something that I've always been very passionate about. So of course, as soon as I heard that, I said, count me in. I actually do have a connection to Parkinson's disease in my family. And it's something that has touched me, and I always wanted to, advocate on behalf of that family member. But I have worked in government relations in Washington, D.C. for about 20 years. And every issue I've ever been fortunate enough to work on has always been based in equity and making the world a better place. And I think that the mission of the Parkinson's community is rooted deep in that, whether it's access to care, access to better treatments, earlier diagnoses, affordable medications, and ultimately a prevention and a cure. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about outside of my own personal connection. So I'm one of the lucky few that actually loves their job, loves coming to work every day, because I get to talk to amazing people like Glen and George, whose catchphrase is always, what more can I do? I always joke that the Parkinson's community can't sit still. That's a Parkinson's joke. And it's also very rooted in advocacy, because everyone is always, what more can I do? Who can I call? What member of Congress can I call? What clinical trial can I participate in? What research can I share? And it makes my job easier, but it also is so inspiring because my passion is met by the passion of 1 million people and their care partners and family members across the country. So that's what brought me to it. That's what keeps me in it.
Thanks, Amy. I wanted to share a few things as we continue to talk. Maybe you could actually, touch on what's coming this week, the goals of the policy forum, and what it exactly is for everybody at home.
Yes, absolutely. So this week in Washington, D.C., in our nation's capital, we will be holding the Parkinson's Policy Forum. This is a coalition effort brought to you by some amazing Parkinson's organizations, not only the Michael J. Fox Foundations, but our friends at the American Parkinson's Disease Association, Lewy Body Dementia, PMD Alliance, and the Parkinson's Foundation. We are going to be welcoming over 250 members of the Parkinson's community to Washington, D.C. That group is going to be made up of patients, care partners, family members, researchers, medical providers. They're representing 45 states as well as Washington, D.C. They're going to be getting in-depth training on how to use their voice while they meet with their members of Congress and their staff. So on Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to Capitol Hill and we're going to be sharing our Parkinson's priorities that we believe are going to really move the needle for the Parkinson's community. That includes asking Congress to include federal investments in Parkinson's research in the ongoing budget that they are currently negotiating. They have until September 30th to fund the government. We just got great news that a lot of our programs are levelly funded that are very important for Parkinson's research. So it's important for us to put a face to those dollars, put a face to the Parkinson's community to make sure that our elected officials know that we're paying attention. We can tell them how those dollars will do a lot of good work and how they're an investment, but also to show that we're here to work with them. The cure and prevention for Parkinson's will not happen by one group alone. It has to be a partnership between the public and private sector. We're also going to be asking our members of Congress to help launch the National Parkinson's Project. Glen and George were integral into getting the National Plan to End Parkinson's Act passed last year. But now we need the federal government to actually launch and put together the advisory council so they can get together. That's a council made up of patients, care partners, Parkinson's groups, researchers, medical providers. And it's going to basically reflect the National Alzheimer's Project that was put together about over a decade ago in 2010. That council came together and advised government and Congress of where they could effectively funnel awareness and government funding to where it was going to do the most good. They funneled over $3.8 billion with a B, billion dollars to Alzheimer's awareness and research. Just think about how much we knew about Alzheimer's in the early aughts and where we're at now. We have drugs going to market. We have awareness. We have a lot greater knowledge about Alzheimer's, and we want the same for Parkinson's disease. But that council has to be convened, sat, and they need to put a report in front of Congress so we can start putting that money where it's going to do the most good. It's just further stressing the need for that public-private partnership. But also, I want to stress this week that the Parkinson's Policy Forum is not just a 2-day event, and it's not just something that happens in Washington, D.C. Our Parkinson's advocacy has to be 365. I want everybody who's going to be joining us in DC to be taking what they learn and taking that motivation and that passion back to their communities. For those of you who can't join us in Washington, DC, never fear, we actually have ways for you to engage. We're actually holding on September 9th our virtual National Day of Action, where we are asking everyone who is a member of the Parkinson's community or loves somebody with Parkinson's to reach out to their members of Congress and tell them to invest in Parkinson's research, as well as launch the National Parkinson's Project. It's also a great time. We want to stress that all politics is local. Not everything, not all change happens at the federal level. If anything, that everybody knows, sometimes change takes a long time at the federal level. So we're also asking people to start reaching out to their state lawmakers. They're starting to plan for 2026. We're asking you to reach out to your state lawmakers and ask them to keep in mind and in high priority the needs of the Parkinson's community in 2026. That includes state investments in Parkinson's research, the expansion of Parkinson's disease registries, and make sure that you're sharing your stories with your state lawmakers as well. So a lot of exciting stuff happening in the advocacy realm this week. You can tell how excited I am about it because when our community talks, leaders listen. And it's important that we are a cacophony of voices, that we are a tidal wave of change, and they cannot ignore us, and that we make sure that we are at that table, not on the menu, and we're making sure that our needs are being heard and they are working with us to really move the needle for the Parkinson's community.
Thanks. That's so inspiring. I always, I've myself have sent letters to every single city, state, federal representative several times, and it's frustrating when either you don't get a response or you get that auto response. But I always say together our voices are so much stronger. And I just imagine if I was in office and I had just one letter from George, I might ignore it. But if I had 30 to 70 to 80 to 100, all of a sudden you have no choice. So I really appreciate, again, all you do. Wanted to, again, send it to Glenn for the next question. And one thing sometime in the future, I tried on my website to kind of give everyone a basic understanding of a lot of the political world. So how the bill started, everyone can go to togetherforsharon.com or Michael J. Fox Foundation. You can see the history of the bill. It was all the way back in 2023. and even you could see step by step. I remember even the day it passed last December, I was almost crying, to be honest, and just because I can't believe in one way that this is the first bill that ever in history of the U.S. that passed. But I wish my mother, could have been there to see it. But I remember, Allie Signorelli called me, or we were texting, and she was at Target, and we were all just crying and happy together. But now, like you said, the work has to continue. I had the honor to have about 40 endorsements for the council, but haven't heard anything. So hopefully, we'll learn a little more. But again, we were limited today, but someday I'd love to have you back maybe and talk about NIH and, the HSS and all that. It's just sometimes for, regular lay individuals like, many of us are, it's complicated, but the way you provide it, and you can see here coming soon next week, but it's just fascinating and so important. And we thank you again for all your hard work, effort, and also allowing us to be part of history.
And I
So
will
Amy,
say, oh, sorry,
okay.
Glenn, real quick before you, ask your question. I will say that it can be frustrating advocating when you don't hear anything back, but you have to know that sometimes government works really slow, and that you are one of thousands that is contacting that office, but you can't get discouraged. As George said, he never gets discouraged. He just keeps going and finds new ways. So if that letter is not being answered, I recommend to everybody attend town halls, become best friends with the staff in the district office of your member of Congress. They focus on doing constituent relationships, so become best friends with them. Make sure that you're educating them. Invite your members of Congress and your state lawmakers to a Rock City Boxing, a support group. Further show what the community is doing to address Parkinson's and how they can work with us. So it's always that you have to get creative. I know Glenn has been trying to get a state registry passed in Hawaii, and he keeps picking himself up every single year and just keeps trying to get more creative and innovative. You just have to stay with it. I used to work on the Paycheck Fairness Act, and it was introduced in Congress for 30 years before finally passing in the House a couple years ago, and then it died in the Senate. And so you just have to pick yourself back up. And it's that Einstein quote or that Edison quote of, finding 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb, and not classifying it as failure, but it's all about being innovative and coming together so they can't ignore us. So they have to work with us. So sorry, Glenn, your question.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine. So what, as president of Hawaii Parkinson Association, my main focus is probably, well, not probably, but my main focus is definitely helping people live their best lives every day. So how does your work and the advocacy of the Michael J. Fox Foundation in particular, how does that help benefit people to live their best life on a daily basis?
I really think at the Fox Foundation, a huge part of our mission is improving the quality of life for those living with Parkinson's. It's not just a cure and prevention for those who are getting diagnosed tomorrow or months from now. It's improving that quality of life. I think a huge part, and both of you could probably back me up with this with your experiences, is knowledge is power, and access to resources, and making sure that people feel empowered to make informed decisions on what's best for them. And I think you can really say the same of a lot of the Parkinson's organizations out there, Parkinson's Foundations, APDA, Davis Finney, Brian Grant, that it's about bringing the community together to talk through things, to talk about experiences, but also how can we support you all with those resources to really make life easier and improve that quality of life. And I think turning it back to what I do in the government space, it's also about educating government officials and their staff about that quality of life and about those lack of resources and about how the journey of a newly diagnosed person with Parkinson's and their family and how difficult it can be to get a diagnosis. You guys have heard me both say this a lot in legislative trainings. You're going to hear me say it this week when we're in DC. There is a lot of misconceptions and previously held beliefs about Parkinson's that are just not true. And it is on us to educate our lawmakers on what Parkinson's is, what it isn't, and what it looks like. And, we always say, you've met one person with Parkinson's, you've met one person. all of our experiences are different. And also, you meet a Parkinson's patient today, you're going to meet a different Parkinson's patient tomorrow with the same person. I kind of made a joke in this training that a lot of you will have be a different Parkinson's patient in your meetings because it's a new setting, a new atmosphere, and you're nervous and things like that, right? But it's on us to educate, because like I said before, that DC saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. If they are not hearing from you, they just think you're fine. You know, you cannot sit back. If not us, who? So we have to advocate for ourselves, as all of people with Parkinson's are advocating in their doctor's offices, as they're advocating in their communities, and as they're advocating to educate. You know, the number one thing prescribed for Parkinson's is exercise, which is not covered by your insurance or Medicare, right? It is on us to do that education, but also to provide a path forward of how people can work alongside us. And I think we do a really great job of that. But the work never ends. And that's why we're in DC. And that's why I want people raising their voices throughout the country in their communities and state capitals, so we can educate, get those resources that we need, so we can improve that quality of life.
Well said, Amy. And as I always tell everybody with Parkinson's, you have to be your own advocate. Whether it's with your doctor, whether it's with your local representative, with your national representative, whoever it is, you have to be your own advocate.
Thank you. My biggest fear is I won't be able to meet all 200 people, which I'd love to, because I think 100 have been on our show. My show.
George, I feel like if anybody can, you can. You have 2 breakfasts and a reception. If anyone can, you can do it.
No, I appreciate it. But again, I'm honored that my wife, family, and Glen, we've all actually met, you know, live. A lot of times I have individuals who are inspiring on the show, but never actually met them. So we've met you several times, and I'm really excited and honored to be part of it. As we kind of wrap up, I wanted to see, you know, again, if Glen has another question, but what is your hope, you know, for the future? Let's say, you know, after this week, Wednesday or night, everyone heads back home. I already have letters. I'm very honest, but I already typed out letters to all 4 or 5 legislators I'm hopefully meeting, thanking them. So I'm already prepared to send it. I don't recommend that for everyone, but I think it will change a lot, because you don't get a lot of responses. Unfortunately, 1 out of the 4 I'm meeting, I already have spoken to them many times. They didn't really want to do our show. And that was, you know, heartbreaking, but now I feel that they might, after they see such a strong presence for everybody at this event. So that'll, I think, well, I'll let you know, Amy and Glen, but I think it's going to bring change. So, and I'm just curious, let's say, again, we're all leave Wednesday, we rest for a day and get back in it. What are some of your hopes after the event?
My major hope after the event, my immediate hope is that I survive. And is that, and then I will probably sleep for like 72 hours.
We need you.
Yeah. But, and George, your check is in the mail, because please, everybody send thank yous after you meet anytime with a member of Congress or a lawmaker. You should always be sending a thank you and a follow-up. And that's a great segue into what I want out of this. I want strong relationships between our advocates and their members of Congress and their staff. I want it to be that if any health or disease related bill comes up, that Brian Schatz is going to be like, you know, I should call Glen with the Hawaii Parkinson's Association and see what he thinks about it. Or I'm going to reach out to Glen because I'm back in district during recess and I want to see any needs for the Parkinson's community. I want relationships. And maybe even if they're not calling you, that when they see you, when you attend these town halls or these in-district meetings, they're like, hey, George, hey, Glen, that they know what we want. I have this one funny anecdote from one of my prior jobs. We had an urgent public comment period at the Department of Education. And so we asked our 7,000 members to call the Department of Education to tell them to do what we wanted them to do. And one of our advocates called us and said, so I just called the Department of Education and they recited our script back to us because they had heard from that many people. And they were like, loud and clear, we got you. You got what you wanted. We will absolutely do what you want. And that's what it is about, is coming together, sharing that passion and educating. Your members of Congress, your lawmakers want to hear from you and they want to work with you. They all, both sides of the aisle, all of them, most of them, went into public service to make their community a better place. Some of their journeys are different of how they want to make their community a better place, but they want to work with you. So I want to get out of this, those continued strong relationships, so we have those champions when we need them most.
Thanks. I just want to share quickly because it's more Florida and that's not what our show is. It's Hawaii to Florida to everywhere. But, at least in my area, some of the representatives you can see, it's very easy. Everyone listening, you can just literally with a minute or second type on the internet, Google anything. We're not getting paid by Google. We'd love them to be sponsored, but you could, just type in your representative, local, federal, state. Glenn does that daily, and you'll be able to, jump in and see how to reach out to them. We'll be running a meeting later, but I do believe it's about everyone together in this, and this is a little bit more on the day. But one thing I really want to point out is how incredible the Michael J. Foundation is, Fox Foundation, with resources. We'll share them also after the show, but some of the talking points are not just for people going, as Amy will also let you know. It's for everybody beyond just this week. So obviously I'm honored to be a part of it, but we need everybody virtual, home, Florida, Hawaii, and where you're listening in from, DC, Baltimore. So we'll add these three, but if you do have an opportunity to speak to your representative, you try to keep it, brief. I remember doing this actually for the national plan, and I practice it because I talk a lot. I'm not shy. But I remember, you'll see, I mean, you met me both of you, but I'm 6'2", 200 pounds in law enforcement. And when I spoke for 2 minutes with my mother, I fell apart on the call. So I'm a little worried it's going to happen again. But, that's what this is, passion. And, I miss my mother. I do this because I don't want Glenn or anyone listening to have to go through this anymore. And I don't want any caregiver to feel alone. But there's three very important forms that Glenn has and Amy likely put together with her incredible team. The elevator pitch, so you can get these links, and also a very important one is the forum and some of the asks. So that's just something, again, I wanted to throw in because it's not, again, I don't want everyone out there to think if you're not attending that you're not a part of this. We need everybody. So I wanted to, for a little bit of a wrap up, again, I'll see you soon, Amy, but what an honor, pleasure. Told my wife that really I've been looking forward to this for a few years. I know we've tried before, but just to be, when I got that email being invited, I don't cry much, but I'm so like shocked because it's such I think it might not be once in a lifetime, but it's a dream come true as an attorney, an advocate, and being there before with other areas. I'm a lawyer in DC and Florida, but to be there for this is what really I think will change my life forever, but kind of helps me feel like in a way I've reached everything, like really that I can actually do as an advocate. And now we take that, turn it around and bring others in and continue on. So I wanted to thank Amy from the bottom of my heart, my family, and you also helped me, everyone I meet, but you specifically, continue to remember my mother and keep her memory alive. And she isn't really lost due to Parkinson's, because together and even in DC, I'll get to share her journey. So I wanted to thank you, but send it to Glenn to wrap up today.
Okay, so I got a different question for you, Amy. One last thing. We're gonna be in DC for 72 hours, and I know you're busy, and I know you got a lot of things on your plate, but what's the one thing you're gonna do for fun while you're in DC?
Well, I live in DC full time, but
Okay.
my one thing that I will recommend, my DC tip for those of you coming, the Waldorf Astoria Hotel was formerly the old postal office. And they have a tower where you can have uninterrupted 360-degree views of the National Mall without going in the Washington Monument. So whenever I'm in downtown DC, I love to steal away and go up there and just take a deep breath and take in the beauty of Washington, D.C. So I would recommend everybody to do that. It is considered a national park, but it's in the back end of the Waldorf Astoria. You go all the way to the top and you can see our beautiful Capitol building, the Washington Monument, the reflecting pool, the White House. It is an awe-inspiring experience, just like Washington, D.C. is. So I also bought a trip to Iceland for next week to fully relax after I survived this. So that is what I'm gifting myself with after this event.
We need to do a Zoom from Iceland. I did one in the Netherlands last week with the World Parkinson Congress.
Oh, yeah.
Never Iceland. Well, I can't top Glenn's backgrounds every show. He's been embarrassing me. 'Cause I have one that we have together, but this one, mine's just an office behind me. So I know that Amy's really busy.
I know, I'm in the
Yeah.
basement of the JW.
Yeah. Hopefully we could get, I had my dream with another dream, too many, but they have become true because of you, Amy and Glenn. But we need a photo of the three of us if possible in front of the Capitol. I don't know if that'll be possible, but that would be a beautiful thing to frame in my house. So want to thank you, Amy. We know how busy you are and I could take you away for hours, but then you won't want to be friends anymore. So
No,
we're going to let you get back to some very critical planning. We're going to share the resources with everyone listening. Please share the show. The only way, we get awareness is through everybody listening. Glenn's just done incredible work sharing it too through their newsletter. Please support him at the Hawaii Parkinson's Association. Please support Amy, Julia, all the new individuals, and we still love Ted. So that's
yeah,
he's still keep in touch. But the things and the time that you've all given me, because I know it's a small office, but one that really reaches the world and allowing us to be a part of it. And today, I feel it's just a dream again come true. So thank you, Amy, and thank you, Glenn, as always.
yes. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you, Glenn, hopefully later today. George, I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see the rest of you as you share your voices online and act for PD. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, and everyone, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Parkinson's Coast to Coast with Glenn and George from Hawaii to Florida. Parkinson's awareness is really worldwide. Looking forward to seeing everyone in the Capitol, and we'll go live, I'm sure, there. Thank you, everyone. We love the Michael J. Fox Foundation, Mr. Fox, and all that you all do for us, but also the world. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, everybody.